We got football tonight. The Eagles, the Bengals, the preseason opener at Lincoln Financial Field, which means we have a pregame show to do. 6 o'clock tonight down at the Link. And, of course, we'll be joined by Eliot Shorr-Parks, who joins us right now as football returns. Eliot, are you ready for some football?
Man, that music makes me want to get down to the Link, get a pumpkin spice latte, and get this season going.
That's our
Not
football
the
guy.
pumpkin spice. Ooh,
That's
pumpkin
our football
spice,
guy.
yeah.
Well, it almost is that time, Hugh. I don't know if you're ready.
It is
for
almost, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah, but didn't you have some pumpkin bacon recently? Maybe?
Well, we weren't supposed to say nothing.
Okay, well, maybe they should have pumpkin bacon.
Spoiler alert,
Maybe
it's coming.
they should have
it's
pumpkin
coming.
bacon.
They working on it.
There we go. All right, Eliot, let's talk about tonight. Eagles, Bengals. What are you expecting tonight, Eliot, in terms of who plays, who doesn't? And we do know the Bengals are expected to play Joe Burrow and some of their offensive starters.
Yeah, which is insane. There's no way Joe Burrow should be out on the practice.
Well, it's not insane. They're trying to get ready for a season.
It's completely insane. They want to start the season quickly. A good way not to do that is to get Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, or T. Higgins injured. So there's no way any of them should start the game tonight. But since they are, it's a good thing for the Eagles because they're going to get to see their backups up against the Bengals starters. Now on defense, I think you'll probably see a few more players that might play key roles this year. Jahad Campbell could certainly be out there. I'll be interested to see if Keely Ringo, Adoree Jackson are out there. I don't think you'll see Cooper DeJean, but if he's taking snaps at safety, Vic might want to see him out there too. So on offense, I wouldn't expect too many people, but on defense, I think there'll be some stuff for fans to watch.
Okay, so defensively, we were going through it earlier, like who has reached the level where they don't play tonight versus who has reached the level where they haven't reached that level, right? Like the young guys that Vic needs to see. Do you think Jalen Carter plays tonight?
No, I don't think you'll see Jalen Carter out there. I also think you probably won't see Nolan Smith. He has, kind of been on and off the practice field the past few days. He had a concussion, then he left practice early, and then he was back. So maybe he won't be out there. No Zach Bond, obviously, he hasn't practiced the majority of training camp. Reed Blankenship's an interesting one. I think he's probably earned the right not to be out there. But at the same time, if you're going to play, Sidney Brown or Cooper, you probably want to get Reed Blankenship those reps as well. So, but I think Jalen Carter is probably the only one that has earned the right not to be out there.
Eliot, being that this is the first preseason game, what do you want to see out of this first one?
Mm-hmm. So for me, for the first preseason game, it's a really good look at where guys actually are on the depth chart. Because in practice, they move guys in and out. But in this one, I think you'll see much more of a, first quarter, second half. So it's when guys are playing, how much they're playing, who's playing in the fourth quarter. Is there any surprise names playing in the fourth quarter? That's always a big thing for the first preseason game. But with this team specifically, the unit I'm probably most excited to see tonight is the tight end group. Now, Goddard's not going to play. Calcaterra is probably not going to play. But for as much as we talk about the second corner spot and the safety spot, which are more important than backup tight end, their tight end group is a really interesting group. Not a lot of easy cuts there. They have 7 guys that I think, have either should have a roster spot or have the potential to be NFL players. So I'm curious to see tonight, is Kylan Granson out there with the starters? Is Harrison Bryant playing into the second half? Where is EJ Jenkins and how often does he get on the field? They gave about $2 million to Granson and Bryant total. And you could argue now that they might not need either of them on the roster. So I'm just excited to see how those guys are used, who blocks well, and see if one of them can separate themselves as they try to make the roster.
Eliot Shorr-Parks with us as we get ready for tonight's preseason game. All right, Eliot, let's talk about Jacorian Bennett, the Eagles' new corner they traded for a few days ago from the Las Vegas Raiders. What do you think about the trade, and what do you think it says about the corner room and where they're at right now?
So it reminds me a lot of the Isaiah Rodgers pickup the Eagles made a few years ago. Now, some obvious differences in the way that Isaiah Rodgers was suspended for a year, but Jacorian Bennett missed the second half of last year with the shoulder injury. But when he was on the field last year, he had some really good advanced stats in terms of, his coverage numbers. I think he was 4th in the NFL last year. For players that played over 400 snaps when it came to quarterback rating when he was targeted. So there's a lot to like about him. And I think it makes sense for the Eagles to pick him up bring him in and give him a chance. Now, what does it mean for the others? It's definitely not good news. Like if you're Keely Ringo or Adoree Jackson, they can tell you whatever they want. They still traded for an outside corner that they liked coming out of the draft and has played well in the NFL. So that competition, I think, is wide open. I think that Jacorian Bennett has just as good of a chance of winning that job as Keely Ringo or Adoree Jackson does. And I don't think they would have brought him in if they didn't think he had a real chance to win it. So he's not going to play tonight, but I'm excited to see him out there on the practice field probably Saturday. And then next week they have joint practices against the Browns, and that'll be a really good chance to get a look at how good he is.
Eliot, when you are kind of evaluating everything as they are, and you're kind of looking at what you think might look like on September 4th, how much do these games matter for the players that play? You know, there's three ways to evaluate. There's practice every day. There's the joint practices, which have taken on increased importance in recent years. And then there's the games. I mean, Vic Fangio said a couple days ago that these matter to him. Like, you can't replicate this. It's basically, he's saying it's real football. That you only get these in the preseason games. You get close to it in those joint practices, but again, they're not hitting the same exact way, especially the quarterbacks. How much does tonight matter for you when you're thinking about what they really have?
So I definitely think practice matters more. I think the joint practices, especially because we see the starters in those, matter more. But I think what tonight for me is about is who can they cut and get back on the practice squad, because the practice footage when they practice at the NovaCare, that only they can see that. When they do the joint practices, only them and the Cleveland Browns next week will be able to see that. If tonight Shunderick Powell, right, an undrafted running back who I think has some pretty special NFL speed, if he has an awesome game tonight and he's awesome next week and he's awesome in that third game, well, maybe then it's a little harder to cut him and get him through waivers. Someone like Eli Ricks, we saw 2 years ago, they probably didn't want him on the field yet, but they had to keep him because he had such a good preseason that they knew if they released him, another team would pick him up. So for me, these preseason games are about who plays well enough like to make it so the Eagles can't afford to risk releasing them.
Eliot with us here as we get ready for tonight's first preseason game. Eliot, non-game question, just something we're noticing here. So the NFL Network is doing their countdown, the top 100 players in the NFL right now, and this is the one where the players vote on this. This is player-driven vote, not like an analyst or a fan or whatever. This is the players. So we're into the low 40s, I believe. Jalen Carter was just named on the list as like number 43. No Jalen Hurts yet on the list, which means obviously one of two things. He's going to be about somewhere in the top 40, or he's not going to make the list altogether. What's your guess on what happens here with Hurts' ranking based on the players' vote?
So I think he's probably on the list. Obviously, he was, I think, third 2 years ago. Last year, he finished 15th or 16th. And so, I would expect he's going to take a tumble. I don't think he's going to be in the top 20. And obviously, when these lists are put out, it's at the end of the year. So the playoffs are not considered here. The Super Bowl is not considered here. But I just find it hard to believe Jalen would go from 15th or 16th to completely off the list. So we'll see. Again, didn't have, I would say, like a special regular season last year where the players had to put him on there. But I just think when you're 15th, you're so top of the mind for a lot of these players when they're making this list. It's hard for me to imagine you completely slip off.
I would agree. I still think he's going to make it, but the closer we get to like the top 25, if he doesn't make it, then it's sort of like, wait, is he going to make the list at all? All right, Eliot, let's end with this. You were there yesterday. You were on a location for Jack versus Joe tennis. Eliot, your takeaway after watching yesterday?
Yeah, I think Jack has to start giving Joe some more respect. I think going into this, Jack thought it, I thought it, a lot of people thought it, that this was going to be a rout, right? That Jack was the better athlete. I think Jack thought himself that it probably, would not be close. Well, he's lost any room for error at this point. Like, I think he'll probably win basketball. But at this point, if he doesn't, that's it. I think he'll win running, but who knows? He trips and falls or whatever, and all of a sudden, Joe's the winner here.
Trips and falls.
I mean, yeah, he could. I think Jack's faster than Joe, but let's not act like he couldn't slip or something. So, I think as of now, Joe is not only just winning the competition 2-1, but I think Joe is winning in the eyes of the public, and he's proven a point that I think a lot of people didn't think he could prove. So he was really good in tennis yesterday. I still think Jack will win 3-2, but the room for error is gone for sure.
Yeah, so I no longer feel Jack is going to win. Eliot, I think Joe's going to win 3-2. I agree with you that it's probably running for Jack, and then we go to basketball. I just feel like the two games that have been up in the air, like close, Jack has faltered in both. Like, how could I have confidence going into a deciding Game 5 that Jack's going to win? I can't have any confidence anymore.
But I'd also say of the three that have happened, well, tennis might be, but you could argue baseball is the most athletic of the three, especially for him, right? Like he's pitching and all that. And there's no question basketball and running. Well, no, I think basketball.
Oh, you mean of the three they've already done?
Of the three that they've already done.
You got you. My fault.
Basketball and running are easily the actually most athletic of the two. Like in terms of needing physical to be in shape to do them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that favors Jack. But again, he has no room to slip up here. Like one thing goes wrong, Joe makes shots that he shouldn't make in basketball or whatever. Like, and that's it. Jack has to live with this for a long time.
For his whole life, yeah.
Based off the morning show this morning, I don't think they'll be quiet in terms of pointing out who won. So I still think Jack will win. He bounced back from golf and absolutely demolished Joe in baseball. So he has a track record of coming back. But yeah, it's tight now.
Now it's anyone's ball game. Now, I agree with you on the running. I don't know. Basketball could be more skill-based one-on-one than just athleticism. All Joe has to do is hit a few set shots. We know he's good at free throws. If he hits a few shots...
Free throws are not basketball.
I know, but
they're playing one-on-one. They're not going to shoot free throws, and he's not going to have a shot available to him where Jack's not in his face.
Right, but in full-court basketball, I agree with you. It's a lot of athleticism. One-on-one... I don't know. You can catch your breath a little bit. You can move around slowly. Also, I don't know if you heard yesterday, Jack said he's not a post-up guy. I feel like Jack's got a post-up.
That was a red flag.
Total
red flag for sure. So, I mean, look, I'm happy to practice with Jack. I mean, I was really good at basketball back in the day, so I will gladly practice with him. But let's hope he takes this one a little more seriously.
He's going to need to. Eliot, we will see you tonight at the link. Thank you for hopping on.
Sounds good. Talk to you guys soon.
There he goes, Eliot Shorr-Parks.